Hello, guys, and welcome to tonight's LUF Lounge. We've got a lot of guests that are going to be sharing some stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to go do a sort of round of introductions. But first, I want to get this out to as many platforms as possible, and I want it to reach as many areas and communities as we can. So will you please like and share as many groups as you can on Facebook. So my name's Glenn. I work for Red Rose Recovery and an advocate of the Lancashire User Forum. And I'm with my colleague, Shelley. Do you want to introduce yourself, Shelley?
Hi guys, I'm Shelley. I work for Red Rose Recovery, and like Glenn, I'm here to advocate the Lancashire User Forum. I will be speaking to you a little bit later on about the leadership and some of the training. And yeah, I'll hand over now to Sarah.
Hi guys, I'm Sarah. I'm here to share a little bit of my story with you about addiction and recovery and what comes after. I also work for Red Rose Recovery now. I work in the North. I'm a community engager. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about me.
Barbara?
Hi, I'm Barbara for Red Rose. I also am a facilitator for the Mind Contract Hope and Beyond. I'm going to be doing some of the comments today. Lovely to see everyone. And I think we get over there to Stuart now.
Hey, I'm Stuart. I'm in recovery and I'm with Mulberry Projects in Blackpool.
Brilliant. So yeah, and maybe Barbara later on in the show, you can talk to us about what is Hope and Beyond, so that the viewers know a little bit about it, and maybe they might want to access it. So, so first and foremost, I'm going to come to Sarah, who's going to do her life story and talk to you where she's at now. So Sarah.
Hi guys. No pressure going first or anything. Not that I'm nervous or anything like that. I'll tell you now that I have not thought about what I'm going to say here. So I'm just going to go with it. I'm just going to tell you about me. And I think it comes better like that because it comes from the heart. So I live in the Lancaster and Morecambe area. I grew up over here. I had a good childhood. I can't say that I didn't. My dad was an alcoholic. And you know, that wasn't easy growing up. I did sort of, miss that figure in my life, but I can never say I had a bad childhood. My mum was great. We had sort of money. I didn't really have a lot to worry about. I did grow up in a house full of men. So it was sort of me and 6 lads growing up, and they were all, older than me, quite sort of bolshy lads about town, big drinking culture, big drug taking culture. And if I'm honest, I kind of liked that. In a sad way, I kind of thrived on that. I was introduced to drink and drugs from a really young age. It was just the thing to do. I always felt a lot of pressure to fit in, a lot of pressure to be perfect. My brothers and everything kind of held me to a high standard. I was supposed to be this kind of perfect woman, that could drink with the boys, but still do all the women's things. And I did feel a lot of pressure for that. And I was good at the drinking and the drug taking, I'll be honest. My life kind of went on like that. I did pretty well at school. I was all right. But again, I always felt a big pressure to fit in. And drink and drugs kind of helped me to do that. Or so I thought. If I'm totally honest, I loved the sesh. I was kind of one of them people. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't start drinking and taking drugs because I didn't enjoy it. I did it because I loved it. I did it because I had a good time. I did it because I felt like it made me fit in. I felt like it made me more me. Time went on. I met my husband when I was 20. Again, he was quite a lot older than me. He was a friend of one of my brothers. He already had a child. So at 20 years old, I, was like a mother as well. Then he lived with us. He had his own issues. I sort of got introduced to drugs on a whole other scale after that. The drinking and the drug culture sort of got really excessive after that. Now, when I first came into recovery, I didn't think I had a problem in those years. I kind of thought, no, those were just the party years. Those were the fun years. When I look back at it now, none of what I was doing was normal. Every time I drank, every time I took drugs, I did it to blackout. If I had one drink, you basically wouldn't see me for 3 or 4 days. I was a mother by this point, you know. It wasn't the way I should have been living. If I'm honest, if I could go back now, I'd give anything to have those years back with my son when he was younger. You know, those times when they actually, because I mean, he's 16 now, he doesn't really want much to do with me. I'm there to hand him the cash, that's about it. And I think about, you know, all those times that I was trying to rush him to bed, you know, because I just wanted to get on it, basically. I really wish I could have those years back. Unfortunately, I can't. My life kind of went on like that. And then after about 13 years with my husband, there was kind of a traumatic event. I won't go into too much detail about it on this platform. But needless to say, our house burnt down. So I lost everything I owned in the world. And shortly after that, my husband died. I was also attacked. So I had a fairly serious head injury. So kind of in a really short space of time, I'd lost everything I owned in the world. My husband was dead. And I say I had a really traumatic sort of head injury. I had a traumatized child, and I'd really lost everything. Now, a lot of this that happened, you know, was down to drink and drugs. Now, you really think that would have taught me a lesson, you know, would have shown me that the way I was living, you know, wasn't good for me, wasn't good for my son. And it didn't. I kind of went the other way. I really struggled to deal with those feelings, to deal with grief, to deal with loss. And I turned to the only thing that had ever brought me comfort, and that was drink and drugs. I had some serious issues. I tried counselling, I tried all these different things. I'm not going to knock it. You know, I did CBT therapy. It was great. It really helped me, you know, with grief. It helped me to say goodbye. It helped me to deal with some of those outside issues. What it didn't take away was the drink and drugs for me. I really hit a rock bottom. I kind of woke up, I'd come round, you know, I had lots of empty bottles around me, lots of empty bags, didn't know where I'd got them, didn't know where they'd come from. And I didn't recognize the person that I was. You know, I couldn't look at myself in the eye. I couldn't look in the mirror at myself. I didn't recognize myself. I was breaking my mum's heart. You know, I wasn't being any kind of mother. I wasn't being any kind of friend. I really did not recognize myself. And I quickly realized, you know, those good times that I'd been holding on to were long, long gone. I was not having any fun anymore. And if I was honest, I hadn't been having any fun for a long, long time. After that, you know, I didn't really know what to do. All I knew was, in my heart of hearts, that I couldn't do it alone. For the first time in my life, I realized that me isolating myself, thinking that I knew it all, thinking that I could cope, that I knew best, it wasn't serving me any favors. You know, I wasn't getting anywhere with it. And so I reached out for help. I did the thing that we all kind of do in this day and age. I looked online. I found agencies like Red Rose. And for me personally, I found a 12-step program, and I threw myself into that. Now, I didn't get it straight away, you know, because as we all sort of know on here, recovery isn't a straight line. We do have a lot of ups and downs. You don't always get it the first time, you know, but if you stick at it, you can have a better life. And that's what I've done. I say I followed a 12-step program. I looked at myself. It was not easy to do. I got a list of defects. I told it was all about me. You know, I did not like that at all. When I walked into these sort of rooms and, you know, the kind of groups that we at Red Rose run, I walked in there with that attitude of, you know, I was better than everybody else. I thought I knew better. I thought this was ridiculous. What were these people going to tell me? I thought it was special, and I thought it was the only one. It's ridiculous for me now to say this out loud. I can see the madness in it, but that is how I felt. And these people talked to me about abstinence, you know, about staying sober. Well, that scared the living out of me. The thought of, you know, being sober forever was a concept that I really struggled to get my head around. I thought I was going to walk in these rooms. These people were just going to teach me to tone it down a little bit, and I was going to be fine. Quickly, when I started listening to other people's stories, like I'm sharing with you now, like these people could have been sharing out of my head. You know, these people actually understood me. And that's where I found the therapeutic value of one addict helping another. And I truly, truly believe in that. I truly believe I would never have found recovery, and I would never have found help had I not connected with other alcoholics and other addicts, because they're the only people, for me, you know, that were ever going to understand my head, were ever going to understand my dodgy way of thinking. As much you'd think, you know, if I know all this about myself, if I know that if I put one drink in, all bets are off, you'd think I just wouldn't pick up the first one. For me, it's just not that easy. You know, my worst enemy is my own head. My head will have me off at every single opportunity. I'll convince myself, you know, it's a treat if I do well. You know, it's something that I reward myself with. If I'm having a rubbish day, something I commiserate myself with. I didn't need an excuse, you know, to drink or take drugs. For a long time, I blamed, you know, all the trauma and everything. You know, that's why I was a drunk. I blamed it on all the bad things that had happened in my life. You know, if you'd been through what I've been through, you'd be drinking too. It was excusable. And what I've come to realize is, yeah, I did, you know, there was some trauma there. That's not what made me an alcoholic or an addict. That's me. You know, bad things happen to people all over the world every day, and not everybody tries to drink themselves to death. That's on me. That's one of my traits. You know, today I truly believe that alcoholism, addiction is an illness. You know, it's something I'm always going to live with. It's something I'm always going to have. But if what I found was by following a program, connecting with other addicts, you know, joining groups like we do at Red Rose, I can hold it off. I don't have to live in misery today. What I can say is that today my life is so much different. You know, if anybody's out there now thinking, oh, do you know, I know I should do it, but I can't face it. I can't face a life without it. I thought I was never going to have any fun sober. I thought there is absolutely no way. I've never had as much fun since I've been sober. What I was doing before, I wasn't having any fun. Really think about it to yourself. If you sat by yourself, you know, you're drinking, you're doing drugs, you're destroying your whole life around you. Are you really having any fun? Because I know I wasn't. And you know what? Recovery has given me so much. I've got a whole new life today. I've got a beautiful relationship with my son. I've got a beautiful relationship with my family. I've got friends in my life, people that don't want anything from me. I cut away all the people, you know, and all those situations in my life that weren't good for me. And now I connect with other addicts and other alcoholics on a daily basis. And for me, that's what keeps me sane. That's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me on the right path. If ever and don't get me wrong, I don't work a perfect program. I am not a perfect person. I'm not by any stretch, but at least I've got a program to work. You know, at least for now, I've got somewhere to turn. And for me, that's the most important thing. I've got now, whatever happens, before I pick up that bottle, I pick up the phone and I will phone, you know, somebody in recovery, you know, somebody that can talk a little bit of sense to me. And most of the time, that's all it takes. It's just to get those thoughts out of your head. Like I say, my life's really different now. I could look myself in the eye today, which is an amazing thing. You know, I've got peace in my heart today, and that's for me, that's a life beyond my wildest dreams. That's what I never thought I'd have. I never thought I'd be able to go to bed, lay my head on the pillow, and feel all right. You know, not feel anxious, not feel afraid. You know, not be scared of, you know, who's going to knock on the door, who's ringing, scared of all the things that I've done, the shame, all of that. I don't have that today. I can sleep peacefully at night. You know, I can look myself in the eye. I can look my mum in the eye, and that's massive. You know, I feel like I'm being the best parent that I can be today. And it's a beautiful, beautiful life. It really, really is. You know, if you're out there thinking, oh, you know, this recovery lark, what's this bird on about? I promise you, your life can be different. It can be beautiful. And then I found Red Rose. You know, there was a job. I went for it. And for the first time, you know, these things that I'd been through, all these things that I thought were, you know, were bad things in my life. And oh my God, actually that's what gives me the strength to do this job. You know, and hopefully that's what's going to make me good at this job. I'm looking at everybody else's face on the screen here to see whether or not they agree with that. Do you know what? Today, I get to pass that on to other people. And that for me is more beautiful than anything else. I really wish I could just bottle this recovery and give it to everybody, because I know how hard it is to think that it's achievable. But it is. I really want to stress this. It really, really is. With the help of other addicts, if you just connect, it really can be done. I'm proof of that. Everybody on here is proof of that. it's an amazing life if you just want to grab it. You know, now working for Red Rose, I'm doing things I never thought I would do. Do you know, I've been into a rehab facility this week, and I've given a talk to like 30 other addicts. And do you know, honest, I still have to pinch myself. So I think people actually come to me for advice on how to not drink and use drugs, like me. Do you know, to me, that's absolutely mental. But all I can do is give people my experience today. And that's what somebody did for me. I do it because that's what somebody did for me, and it saved my life. Do you know, and I know everybody at Red Rose, that is what we're passionate about. We are in the business to try to save people's lives. I know it sounds corny, but these addictions, it is a matter of life and death. It can be. We all know people that have died. We all think it's never going to happen to us. And do you know what? It can and it will. It is that serious. You know, jails, institutions, and death. That's what happens. You know, so if you're not on board with Red Rose, you know, you're not on board with recovery, save your own life today. Get in touch with us, comment on here. Yeah, reach out, get on some groups, get involved with us. I promise you it'll be the best thing that you ever do. The best thing you ever do for you, and the best thing you ever do for those that you love. I'm thinking about what I'm going to say now, so I'm probably just going to leave that there.
You know what,
that's all right, guys.
That is absolutely awesome. I first met you in the office that day when you popped in to get your pass, and I remember seeing that big beaming smile, that gorgeous hair, and thinking,
can't miss the grin, can you?
I need this woman in my life. And I know we've only spoken a few times really because of our paths being quite separate, but each time that I interact with you, I think, do you know what? The inspiration isn't just there on the surface. Every time you dig that little bit deeper, you're like a diamond. You're like a diamond mine. You know what I mean? Every time.
I should have met my ego bigger and bigger, you know.
But in all seriousness, I sit here and I listen, and I love what I hear, because I look at you now as you are the face of recovery. And had you not have opened up about what you have done, people wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
People wouldn't recognise just how down and dirty it can be. Apologies, the door's about to slam with the wind. No, it's not. We caught it. So I want to thank you for that, because that was really eye-opening for me. Because that's the first time I've heard your story. So thank you very, very much for that.
No problem.
Barbara, what's the scores on the doors? Have we got any comments in there yet?
Any comments? There is that many, I can't write it quickly enough. Do you know what? There's 34 people online. I think 34 people have sent comments in 3-4 times ago. The love that is coming in for you, Sarah, is just amazing.
Thank you,
the comments that Leanna's put out, I haven't even got time to write them all down. You have said here she wants to follow in your footsteps. You are wonderful. You are great. You are an inspiration. And
guys, you're going to have to tear up.
Everybody is saying the same stuff. You're amazing, Sarah. You're beautiful. You're amazing. People can relate to you. And that is such a big thing when they know part of what you have gone through, they are going through.
I hope so.
That is great.
I really hope so. That's what we want. And you know what? That's what we do at Red Rose, isn't it? You know, we're trying to tell people what our story is. Because and we try and tell people how it is that we've got the life that we've got now and how we keep it. For me, it's not just getting clean and sober, it's staying clean and sober. That was the big thing for me. You know, occasionally I could get a couple of days in. Keeping clean and sober was a totally different thing. And the only way I did it was by connecting with other addicts, talking to other addicts, places like this.
That's what they're all saying. Going to recovery groups is amazing, and that's what starts you off on that path.
Yeah.
Andy has said 15 months clean, and it's thanks to all of us guys at Red Rose Recovery. But that's nothing, because Ian, 36 years clean from drugs, drink and glue. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel, he said. You've just got to find that light that's there. And at the moment, I think Sarah's our light in that tunnel.
Thanks, guys.
Sorry, go on, Shell.
No, absolutely fine. I was going to say, because you mentioned about your son and how you missed a lot of his earlier years. How's that impacted you? Now is it that teenage age?
Do you know what? I kind of have to accept that I can't change what's been and gone before. And I did a lot of drinking and using around the guilt around that. And I only made things worse because of that. I've had to accept that I can't change the past and I can't change what's been and gone. All I can do now is concentrate on being the best mum that I can possibly be now.
Yeah.
And we've got a great relationship today. It's in that different stage, you know, he's that little bit older, but today he can talk to me. You know, he can be honest with me. And for me, that's a massive deal. For the first time when I came into recovery, I was honest with him. He knew I wasn't living my life right. He didn't 100% know what was going on, and it was worrying him. And I never wanted him to know because I thought that was going to cause more damage. But actually keeping those secrets and trying to live this secret life alongside my normal life actually did more damage. So I found that when I sat down with him and I had that honest conversation, I laid it out and said, look, I've struggled. I'm sorry. I'm going to try and be better. I mean, wasn't just about the words. It was about putting that action in and proving it to him day by day. I've got a lifetime amends to make to my son. And I make that amends by staying clean and sober.
Yeah.
Do you know, that's all I can do.
You're doing absolutely awesome. And there's a lot to be said for that as both a mum and a recovering addict. So I applaud you on both counts. So yeah, very much so. And as Barbara's just said, the comments are still absolutely flying
in.
Yeah,
they certainly
Chris
are.
Fogg has just said, thanks so much for sharing that, dude. I've been working on it for the past 8 to 12 months. So to finally get to launch it and support anyone in the music industry suffering with the disease of mental illness is what he wants to put. That's what he was put on this planet to do.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's hearing people like you that can relate and explain and won't shy away from the gritty stuff.
I think
absolutely awesome.
I think as well, and just a comment about when you turn around and said about making yourself good at the job and looking at our faces and our body language and I think that everybody, I think you're a breath of fresh air, to be honest with you. I didn't get to speak to you much when you started due to being in a different area, and I come up there last week and got to know you a bit better, but you've just shared that, and I think that it was absolutely amazing. I think it was really powerful, and I think that you touched a lot of people. So just to elaborate on that, so what are the kind of things that you're doing now in the community with Red Rose, and how would they be able to get hold of Red Rose Recovery?
But you know what, we've got a lot going on in the community, and we're still doing the things online. You know, we're not going to leave people high and dry if that's all that people can access at the moment. We totally appreciate that. But we do have a lot of face-to-face things going on now, which is what we love, really. We like to be able to see people face-to-face. We like to be able to connect with people properly. We've got face-to-face groups running in Lancaster. We've got 5 Ways to Wellbeing groups. We've got a women's group. You know, we've got a check-in group. So we're here and now. They run from the YMCA building. Our numbers are on all the posters. You can find them on the Red Rose website under What's On. Everything is listed on there. Give one of us a call, give one of us a message, or just turn up. The addresses are on there. We want to see you. I've started a new group in Morecambe as well. We didn't have a presence as such in Morecambe, so we're really pleased about that. That's sort of Friday morning, 10 till 12. That's called Tea and Talk. That's at West End Impact. They're a great charity that can help people with lots and lots of different things. Advice. They almost run like a little citizens advice. They do a food bank, you know, a hot meal, that sort of thing. That's also what we like to do here. You know, I know I can speak for the North, but I'm sure I can speak for everybody else as well. We like to work with the other people in our community. We're not one of these, you know, charities that are quite insular. We want to get out in our communities and we want to find out what's out there, and we want to see where we can help. We want to partner with as many people as we can. We've got somebody that's going to be at the Stanley Road Community Centre now on a Wednesday morning, 10 till 12. That's just to drop in. The lovely Chris is going to be there. So if anybody just, you know, is around, they're struggling, they want to chat one-on-one, just go and drop in. Chris is there. He wants to see you. Like I say, this Tea and Talk group we've got in Morecambe, brilliant. going great. We've got a lovely kitchen there where you can all have a brew. Obviously, we're still socially distanced inside, but it's a really nice cafe feel. You know, we've got couches, we've got chairs. It's, you know, it's a nice, relaxed environment. We, you know, we towards the end of the 2 hours, we kind of, you know, do it a little bit sort of stricter, as in we'll all sit down together and have a chat and see who needs a bit of group time, who needs a bit of support from the group. But you can have one-on-ones there, you know, talk as a group just to get to know people. It's about connection. It's about getting involved. We also working with a charity called First Light in Lancaster. They're a veterans charity. So if there's anybody, you know, ex-forces, they do some fabulous work in the community. We're going to work alongside them, helping with the drugs and alcohol side, if anybody's got issues there. So this is what I like about Red Rose, you know, when we're not afraid to, if it's something that we can't help you with, we recognise that along with drink and drugs, you know, a lot of the time comes a lot of other social issues, you know, can be homelessness, you know, you can be struggling to pay your bills, you can be struggling to feed yourself and your family, there can be mental health issues. If it's not something that we can directly help you with, we will direct you somewhere else. We partner with so many different people. We will get you that help. We will, you know, signpost you in the right direction. And that is what I love about this place. I'm excited.
Thank you, Sarah. And I could relate to your story in many aspects in my own journey, and I'm going to share my story after.
Yeah.
So what I will say is, if you can like and share and get it out to as many people, because obviously there's Stuart's still got to do his story. We're going to talk about leadership. Barbara's going to touch on a bit of the hope and beyond what she does. So there's a lot still more to come, guys. So let's like and share, okay? And it's interesting, isn't it, that we're talking about like online groups and stuff like that, because when I can't remember how long ago, 15 months ago, 18 months ago, when COVID was a thing, when we moved on to a digital offer, and all the face-to-face groups diminished quite quickly, we had to learn really, really quickly. And I remember speaking to one of my colleagues, and he turned around and he said, I had to learn how to use a laptop really, really quickly. And there was pros and cons from that, in the respect that people could do it from the comfort of their own home. So people that didn't want to travel, or they had a disability, or whatever issue they had to attend the face, or barriers, should I say, to attend a face-to-face group, they could do that. But then also there's the people that do need the face-to-face interaction. And what I must say is that obviously Red Rose and LUF, as an organisation, we're trying to get face-to-face back as much as possible, but under guidelines. So like I said, like Sarah said, head to our website and Facebook page, and you'll see loads of stuff that's going on. It's www.redroserecovery.org.uk, and if you go to the what's on bit, and you can see everything that's going on across Lancashire. So get on there, like and share it again, guys. And now I'm going to talk to you a bit about the community, what we've been doing in the community. So I've been privileged enough today to be part of a project in Preston, and we went out and did a litter pick in the Brookfield area. So we partnered up with Gateway. They started this project, and they asked us, could we go on and help? So what I'll do is I'll play the video, and then we'll talk a bit about it. So can I ask you all guys to put yourself on mute while I play this video?
We're the community engagement team from Community Gateway, and we're in Brookfield today with Sound Skills and Red Rose Recovery. and Kelly's just going to tell you a little bit about the project we've got going on today.
So the project started when we advertised on Facebook. We did a litter pick in Homeslack with loads of different partners, and one of the community members from Brookfield messaged and just said, I would love to do that in Brookfield. I go out on litter picks on my own and I'd really like to get a group together and do a big litter pick. So here we are. I responded and we met up, and then Chris at Soundskills, so that's based in Brookfield, it's a community centre that do loads of creative arts and different projects. They said they'd happily host us and have the event from Soundskills. So we've got so many people here today, which I wasn't expecting, so I'm really chuffed. And we're sort of tackling near the shops. Behind the shops we've got like different garage bits, and then we're also going to go down some alleys and just streets. And we really just want to make Brookfield look tidier and just sort of increase like community spirit and make people feel a bit more proud of the area. Yes, so I've already mentioned we've got Soundskills here today. We've got loads of community members, and we've also got lots of people from Red Rose Recovery, which we're really chuffed with.
Right, so we'll bob on down to some of the guys we've got today. So I'll just throw the question out there and anyone can answer. So why are you guys here today? What's made you come along to this litter pick?
To not take advantage of our community.
Yeah.
Especially in the area what we've grown up in, places where we are actually respected. You know what I mean? Especially with the people we've grown up with.
Just like show up, you know, like show any age can do it. You know, we've got some old lads, we've got some young lads, we're here to just show we can do it.
Yeah.
We're giving back to the community that we've taken a lot from. You know, Red Rose are here, you know, we've done it through the Lancashire User Forum as well. Like, we're here to do it, we're here to smash it, we're here to show people that, you know, if we can do it, other people can do it. Do you know what I mean? Everyone can do it, so just get your hands dirty and jump in.
Yeah, and you talked about giving back, so in the sense of it can be something small, something big about giving back. So what are you all getting out of this today for yourself?
Not only that, I just want to thank Gateway, I want to thank this place here, you know, Red Rose Recovery, the Lancashire User Forum and stuff. I've done a lot of hurt damage, like a lot of other addicts in this community, you know, not just in this community, all over the country, you know, and it's just nice to be in recovery and be humbled to be here doing something for this community on a daily basis, you know. And Red Rose Recovery, you people, great at Gateway. It's just so humbling, it's so welcoming, it's so, you know, and you make me feel special, you make me feel loved, and you make me feel all the good things to want to progress and do something good.
Brilliant.
You know?
So it helps when we give you the opportunities to get involved, doesn't it?
Of course,
Yeah.
Of course.
I think to get on the other side of the fence for once, doesn't it?
Of course,
You know, if we
yeah.
as youngers maybe causing the mess that we're sorting out today,
Yeah.
like it's a good feeling to be on the other side of that.
Of course it is.
Giving a little bit back maybe.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I think as well, a big point is about breaking down them barriers and stigma about what communities have on people that have got addiction problems, recovery, and come through that criminal justice system. And it just shows that when people have come from them diverse backgrounds, that it doesn't mean they're like that forever, and they can give back to the communities and can change their life.
We're human beings like anybody else, and it's like we come from all areas and backgrounds and stuff, and you know, I think the public just focuses on addiction. Do you know what I mean? Where people are at in their addiction, and they don't seem to see past that and see what good is going on in the recovery, and that with all us good people, you know, and that us that are working on a daily basis to really try and show and be a good, healthy part of this community, and it's worthwhile. And
getting involved
you
in
know,
stuff like this as well, it just to spread that awareness as well that people can
recover.
You can evolve, can't we?
Yeah.
You know
We talked a little bit before with the group about other opportunities that Community Gateway can offer you. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about what we talked about?
There's loads of different groups, you know, you could do like youth clubs and stuff like that. There's loads of little volunteering stuff for kids, you know, it's summer. Get the kids out there doing a bit of football, doing a bit of swimming, just something to socialise.
Especially for those that's not got the opportunities as well. Like
exactly.
say we do football, we've got a football team going there, so that's for the older lads.
It's all about the connection.
It's all about the connection.
It's all about getting back in the connection in the community, finding the things that you can focus on, finding on all these good things. Like I play football with all these good lads, you know, and that we're family and stuff. And it's like I work with Red Rose, you know, coming to work with Gateway and stuff. There's loads of areas of things that I've done, you know, and I'll keep working on them. I'll bang down doors until I get answers, you know.
But you're right, it's about having the opportunities that you've all talked about. It's about people letting you in the door, isn't it?
Of course.
Yeah. And we're more than happy to do that at any point.
And it's about you people, you lovely, genuine people you in the community that are giving us that place to develop our skills, develop what's good for us, and develop where we want to go with our recovery in our lives.
I think over the last 15, 18 months since COVID's hit us as well, people's obviously mental health has deteriorated massively, and I think also coming out and giving back to the community also keeps us guys well as well. So by giving back, it's like a two-pronged approach. It's obviously it's our mental well-being, connection, and obviously with restrictions loosening, obviously we can do this a bit more, and obviously we just want to thank Gateway to be able to give us opportunities to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So.
Yeah, so we're back again, guys. So obviously that short 10-minute video or whatever it was just a short bit of that day. I know that the guys was out there for all morning and potentially some of the early afternoon tidying up our communities. And some of these guys, and I can only speak for myself in this, which I will touch on in my share in a minute, but it's around, I felt as though that I was a drain on society, and being able to give back to them communities and be a valuable member of society kept me going well. So I just want to say thank you to Gateway as well, because what they've said is that we can partner up with them in the future and do much more projects like that, whether it be litter picks, whether it be beach cleans, because obviously Gateway are massive housing providers. So I'll just say thank you to them. So,
can I just jump in there, Glenn? I can't believe that nobody's mentioning the fact that you did a lovely little model pose right at the end of that segment.
I've been sat waiting, wondering what on earth.
Just at the end, there was it was almost like a Zoolander moment of a.
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that again for you guys if you want.
Go for it. There we go.
No, don't embarrass me. I'll get all hot flushes.
God bless.
So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a quick summary. I'm going to do a bit of my share, but then I'm going to come on to Chris, because obviously I've come in tonight, and obviously I wasn't going to do a share, but Chris had to go for other reasons. So what I'll do is I'll give you a brief summary of mine, and if Chris is okay, are you okay coming in after me, Chris? Yeah.
Can I give a couple of? Yeah, right. This gateway, there is so many people. Wow, we want it in our area. Why can't we have that? And Chris says it's absolutely amazing, and he loves doing things like this. He has a great day, and it's brilliant doing things in the community. Pity that we don't have more of that in a lot of other places. Sam said she'd love to do things like this, but there's nothing in her area. That's it. You have to spread out, Glenn.
Yeah, and that's it. And but the best thing about it is that I know from the north, the east, central, I know that there's a lot of this going on, and we just need to let people know. And the best promotion is word of mouth. So let people know that you're doing it, and then they tell their friends, and then so on, and that's how we promote it. But like I said, all this information is usually on Lancashire User Forum's Facebook page, and it's also on Red Rose Recovery's page, and that's how you can get involved. And if you want to come and be a part of it, you can be. So I'll come in now, so because it links in quite nicely around a bit of my story, should I say. And you have to bear with me because I'm not prepared for this, so it's a bit ad hoc, and I was having a bit of a laugh prior to this, saying it takes me about a week to prepare myself to usually do this, and so here goes. So as many people know me, my name is Glenn. I work for Red Rose Recovery. I've got offending history. I've had addiction issues. So I'll give you a bit of summary, because I can't tell you my life story in 10-15 minutes, because it took me about a year to be able to get that across to you. But it also links into a bit of what Sarah was saying around childhood trauma and how that had affected me growing up. But I didn't realise that at the time. So my mum was a drug addict and an alcoholic, and when I was younger, and when I say young, I mean 15 months, 18 months, that early. So I don't remember much of it, but looking back at it now, I realise how it affected me in my addiction, in my offending and stuff like that. So as everyone can see, I've got a mixed background in the respect of a mixed race. So my dad was Caribbean and my mum was white. But at the time, my mum was with a white British male, and she was pregnant and everything was going rosy in the respect of the relationship. But due to her drinking and drugs, she was in a lot of toxic relationships. Used to go out on the town, not come back for days. And then 9 months later, I popped out, which her partner would have had a big shock, considering that they was both white British, which that caused a massive issue and a massive rift in their relationship, to the fact where more drugs were being took, more alcohol was being consumed, and that then led to violence and me getting physically abused to the extent of being fags put out on me, being chucked downstairs. And this was all at 15 months, 18 month old, where I had to go to hospital, broken arms, broken legs, that sort of lot of things. And like I said, I don't remember much of it due to the fact that I was only really young, but obviously due to family and conversations that have been had since then, this is why I'm aware of this. So I got took off my mum at an early age, and I went to live with my grandparent. It was actually my great grandmother at the time, and she didn't have much money. She had 2 jobs. She did the best that she could. I lived in a normal area. When I say normal, I mean just an estate in Preston, and I had quite a decent upbringing from around 2 to about 15, and what I did remember is I remember that stigma and that judgment, and the judgment coming from myself, in the respect of when my mum used to come round and she was still under the influence, and all my friends was on the street laughing and stuff at me, and I was embarrassed. And I had that judgment against her, in the respect that I didn't want to see her. I didn't want anything to do with her, and that affected me, and it goes back to that trauma. And it was only now that I look back at my past, how that's impacted on my offending and my drug use. So I'll skip many years, because like I said, I've only got a short time to do this, because obviously I know Chris wants to do his share. When I was around 15, my grandmother had an heart attack, so I had to move back in with my mum. My mum was quite in a stable relationship then, but she was still using cannabis and drinking alcohol. Her husband committed suicide while I was living there, and it was quite a surreal moment, really, because he was Irish, and what they do when someone dies is they keep the body in the house for a few days, and then they celebrate his life and stuff like that. And I was all around 15 at this time, and it was just mad. So I didn't want to be there, and because my mum fell off the wagon, and I knew that how that would impact on me potentially going into care, because I couldn't go back to my nana's due to her not being well enough for that to happen. I ended up going out and started taking amphetamine, ecstasy, your party drugs to keep you awake. And I did that and stayed out for days and days at a time. And what I thought really, really quickly was, how can I maintain this life, or portray this life that everything's okay, when I'm only 15, I'm still at school. And so what I did is I started going out shoplifting, doing petty crime, and it wasn't to fund drugs or alcohol, it was to feed me and to put clothes on my back. And I don't want to portray anything that and make it out as though that I didn't get looked after all the time, because I did. It was just certain times. So one day I might come back and there might be nothing in the cupboard. One day I might come back and everything might be fine and rosy and dandy, because obviously mental well-being wasn't in a great place. So what I did is started committing crime, and I did that to portray an image, and I did that for quite a while. I portrayed an image that everything was okay when it wasn't. But what gradually happened was I needed more money to clothe myself, to feed myself. And my nana was still alive, and she was still supporting me in the best way she could financially and stuff like that. But my crime started getting worse, and I ended up getting a 2.5 year prison sentence for a crime that I didn't even commit, funny enough. And that was due to my associates, and I call them associates because I thought they were my friends at the time. And I ended up doing 2.5 years in Lancaster Castle. And the reason that I did that was because my morals and principles was way offline. And the reason I say that is that my morals was to him and not my partner, who was pregnant at home with a child. And because I didn't want to be a grass and all this judgment and all this stigma about this street life, if you will, I did a lot of jail. And I'm not saying for 1 minute that my later prison sentences I didn't deserve, because I did. I'm just saying that initial one, I went to prison for something I didn't commit. So when I went to prison, it was like I was in like a cage with more lions. And when I say that, and it's quite light-hearted, because what I mean is I learned how to commit crime better, and I learned how to look after myself better. And this judgment around I didn't have a drug and alcohol problem was still with me, even though I knew that I did. And I can't remember how many prison sentences I've done. And that's quite embarrassing to say. It really is. I cringe even when I say it, because I really don't know. I really don't know how many prison sentences I've done, and all across Lancashire and England. So I remember seeing a carrot worker in Preston Prison on B Wing, and I remember him saying to me, "You're either going to end up dead, or you're going to do a long, long time in prison." And I didn't believe her. I didn't believe her at all. And it was about 2007, I think it was. I was getting away from the police, and I jumped out of a window 50 foot up, getting away from police, and brought my back. And funny enough, I was led, and I'm only about 4 doors down from where I actually did it. And I see it every single day. And every single day that I drive down that road, I look at that flat window and think to myself, it actually saved my life. And it might be surreal for people to think that, but if that hadn't happened to me at that time, I'd have probably been doing a long, long time in jail or dead, like I said. And I know I'm skipping loads of bits out, so I apologise for that. But my point being is that when I got out, I was in a wheelchair and been told that I'd never walk again. And I isolated. The only time that I went out of this house was when I needed to go and get my medication from the chemist. And then I come back, and I was still on an estate, and people that the street life. I felt vulnerable. I felt embarrassed. And I'm still in the same house not where I brought my bike, but where my family's from, and they've been here for 20 years. And my child used to go past Preston Prison and used to say, "That's where my daddy lives." And it absolutely breaks my heart to even think that. But like what Sarah said, it's that guilt and that beat me up for years and years. But it kept me in it. It absolutely kept me in that vicious cycle of offending, taking drugs, and doing what I did. And I used to go out with friends that, and this is how mad this is that they used to all take cocaine and sniff cocaine and take ecstasy, but they wasn't drug addicts. But when they used to talk about people that used to take more harder drugs, I used to cringe, absolutely cringe, and not want to be there. And I used to even go home and things like that. And it's just that judgment and of what people think of you and that perception. Anyway, cut long story short, I started volunteering, and the reason I started volunteering is because I've not used drugs now for about 10, 12 years, give or take. But since then, my mental health was still in a bad place because I was isolating. I managed to get back on my feet, and what happened was I ended up getting an infection in my spine where I brought my back, and ended up back in hospital for 6 months, being told again, "Now this is it, you'll never walk again." And that was true. So if you ever see me, I'm on crutches now. But it's a blessing in disguise, and I believe that things happen for a reason. and I've got my family back. I've got I own my own house. I've got a job, and I don't see it as a job. And my colleague who I work with, he said it's a lifestyle, and I absolutely believe that. I really do believe that, because it's like the project that we did in the community today. That wasn't just about giving back to the community. It was a big part of it, but it was also about keeping my well-being well. And like Sarah said, it was getting off drugs was easy. I think it was easy, but staying off them was my problem, because I got off them many, many, many times. I just couldn't maintain it. But I did a lot of work on myself, and the reason I did a lot of my work on myself, and it took me back to my childhood. It took me back to significant moments in my life, and I worked through them. And I can honestly sit here and talk about it now. And I've got my children upstairs. I've got my wife probably sat here listening to it. But I'm not embarrassed about where I've been or what I've done, because it's probably, I'm quite resilient enough to be able to deal with that now. And Red Rose was a platform for me to be able to develop. But most of all, it was about keeping me well, and it's still doing that to this day. And I remain here now, like I said, about 12 years clean. With my job, I own my own house. I've got a car. These are things that I didn't even dream possible. I go into police stations, prisons, community, and these are all places that I've been through and been part of. And when I say that, is that I'm working at my job now is working in the criminal justice sector, and that is working in prisons, police stations. And when I went in there, even knowing the community in front of you guys, and people might see me as quite a confident character, when I went into them environments, I just wept. And when I say that, I didn't sleep for about a week before I got the job, because I seen it as hierarchy. And what I mean by that is that it took me back to my trauma about devaluing myself and feeling less than. So what my message is to you, if you get a message from this, is that if I can change, believe me, anybody can. And when I say that, when I get my DBS, there's about 70 to 80 convictions on there. And I use that now as my CV. And what I mean by that is I'll say, yeah, I've done a lot of wrong in my life, but I wasn't a bad person. I just made bad mistakes, and this is who I am today, and this is where you can get to. And what I mean by that is, as well, is that all them life experiences that I've had, I use in a positive way now to support others. And if people can't see the value in that, and it's not about me, it's about you guys. You've all got the same experiences or similar experiences, and you can use them to support others, but also to get yourself well. So I'll leave it there. That's a quick summary. And like I said, I know it were a bit of here, there, everywhere, and a bit, and I hope it made total sense to you, but I didn't have any time to prepare for this. So if anybody's got any questions, I'm happy to answer any. So Barbie, do you want to come in?
Well, I can't believe how many things have come in here. Like, you've got your own fan club. Lindsay says respect. Maria says you're doing amazing. Peter Yarwood changed his name, says go Glenn, you are a public servant. Samantha says fab Glenn. Debbie says you're smashing it. And Lindsay says, if I can get all of this out, recovery, it is possible. She is living proof, and Red Rose Recovery keeps her sober, which is over 2 years now. They are like my extended family. And I think that's how it does work with us. It's when somebody does have something that traumatic happens in their lives, now we know that we can actually turn to one another. And I'm living proof of that with you, Glenn. You know that. I don't know what I'd have done at the time. All I needed was just to keep myself busy and for people to understand that. And that is the way. Once that you've got this Red Rose community around you, it doesn't matter how you work, they change their ways so that they work with you. And it's, you're living proof of it. Sarah's living proof of it. I haven't got to Chris yet and Stuart, I suppose they're living proof of it. But it's amazing. These people on here are just overwhelmed that we've gone through it, and yet we're coming through looking after them, and now they're doing the same. They're going on to look after other people. Brilliant.
Can I just say there, Glenn, honestly, that was the most, one of the most honest, you know, and brave shares I think I've probably ever heard, mate. That was absolutely amazing. It really, really was. I really like there how you touched on the fact that, you know what, all these bad things that you've done doesn't define who you are. It doesn't. I'm a massive believer that us as addicts, you know, we're quite sensitive people, you know, and a lot of the time we don't know how to deal with the world around us, you know, and we really, really struggle with that. You know, all our things in our past doesn't have to define us. It doesn't make us bad people. We might have done wrong, you know, and we need to stand by that. But it's never, ever too late to change your life, is it? It's never, ever too late to, you know, just change everything that's around you. I thought that was amazing, mate. Thank you for sharing that.
Can I just bring something quick in? A lady came on before wanting to know how she could get over her childhood trauma. I have sent a message back. We do have connections with adverse childhood effects. So please do ring me. I have sent my number out and I will pass the number for that on. Okay,
thank you. Thank you, Sarah. I'll come into you in a minute, Stuart, as well. So yeah, obviously I'm sat here now because obviously we are sensitive. We are sensitive people, and we portray. Well, I portray. I can only speak for myself. An image that everything's all right and we've got it all sorted and everything's. But then what I'll do is then go on and reflect on that, and I'll be in pieces for a week. And then I'll come back out and everything's all right again, and I'll put my mask on, if you will. But it's all right to not be all right, if that makes sense. That's the thing. It's okay. And I'm sat here now reflecting on it, and I'm thinking it probably sounded like a lot. And I know that you'll probably all say it never, but it sounded like it was a lot of waffle, and I was just waffling on it in bits. But I just thought that my message I'm trying to lay out is that when you're in that moment, I still go on groups to this day, and I work for Red Rose Recovery, and I take part in them groups when I'm having a bad day, because it's better out voicing it and getting over it than it's sitting in. And I remember someone's using an analogy around like a bottle of pop, and I don't know, many people might have heard this, but all your emotions are the cork within that bottle. The top's on, you shake it up and shake it up, you've got it's going to go and it's going to explode. But if you let the top off slowly and deal with one thing at a time, you can control when the emotions come out and how they deal with them. And I use that ethos on a daily basis. So rather than trying to deal with 10 things that are going on in my life, if I concentrate on one of them, then I can deal with it, and then I'll move on to the next and the next and the next. So thank you for letting me share. Stuart, did you want to come in?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks, Glenn, for that, because I can relate a lot to yourself with stuff, which obviously it'll come out like in the live story, but I just want to thank you for that.
No problem, appreciate that, mate. So Chris, I don't want to are you okay to take over now and do a bit of your share?
Yeah.
Okay, mate. So this is Chris. I'll let him introduce himself and he can take the platform. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chris. Currently living in Preston. I was brought up in Accrington, me, with two sisters and a brother. My dad used to drink and that around us. Never thought nothing of it at the time. So my mum and dad split up. Mum got custody of us. We all grew up in moved to Blackburn then. I think that's when it all went down for me. I thought I was pretty mature at 14, 15 till I moved to Blackburn. My mum and dad split up. Yeah, rocked my world really, and I didn't even realise it at the time. I don't know. I just see it now. That's where everything went downhill for me. I started getting in with the wrong crowds. changed school and everything. It was a big thing for me halfway through my 3rd year at school, at a new school. Didn't like it, didn't like the people, stopped going anywhere, started smoking weed and sniffing aerosols and stuff on the street. It's progressed through that. Everything, yeah, just got involved with pure madness. I was uncontrollable, me as a child. It was horrendous. Things I did and unbearable, probably couldn't even speak about on screen. Yeah, it was mad, took me to dark places. Dropped out of school at 15, had no interest in it, just thought I knew it all. I was learning it all on the streets, got in with the older lot. I was selling drugs by the time I was 16, 17, thought I had it going on. There was money coming in like I couldn't believe. Cars, women, holidays, gold, all that stuff. I thought who needed qualifications would have got this, do you know what I mean? But it was mad. By the time I was 17, 18, I was locked up in young offenders. Doing a 4-year stretch for bloody Section 18. All these friends and associates then were non-existent, yeah. But then me being me, I even thought that were big when I got out of there. I've done a 4-year. I think we used to compare what prison sentences we could get, and at that age, it was like a big thing. The longer you got, it was madness, everything. Yeah, I just expected coming out, getting a pat on my back and that, and carried on. But I got clean in jail. I wasn't really using the hard stuff then, actually. It was after I come out. That's when I'd really jumped up a scale. Then I went through the rave drugs, the party drugs and this and that. They weren't for me. Just progressed straight on to class A's at about 19, 20, yeah. Heroin, I thought that was my thing then. It did something for me. It used to just calm me down. I don't know, that's what I thought. I was self-medicating at the time. Ended up having a daughter, got with a girl, ended up having a daughter then, about 19, 20 years of age. I even thought that would have got me clean. There were lots of periods throughout my life where I used to get clean. Staying clean was my battle. I used to think, yeah, the prison sentence will keep me clean, the children will keep me clean, but I always went back. If it weren't the drugs, it was the madness. I was just deeply involved in madness and chaos. Forward on a few years, yeah, that relationship broke down. I ended up meeting another girl. I had another 2 children. In and out of jail all throughout that. Just chaos. Never there for my kids. I was there in person, but I was never around. I'd go away for weeks and months at a time. 2 more jail sentences come into that along the way. Yeah, just horrendous. Some dark places. Just ravaged my life. Yeah, my life was unmanageable, and I made everyone else suffer around me as well, constantly. My family, my kids, my partners, everything. Yeah. Just riddled with that sort of, carried it round for me, and I didn't even know all this was going on till my second partner left me with the kids. I just hit self-destruct each time and went deeper and deeper, me, I think. It was mad, yeah. My friends were dropping like flies around me, all my associates, the kids I grew up with, and this and that. They were either dying from overdose or some sort of madness. Yeah, horrendous. It just got closer and closer. I lost my dad when I was about 20. That was another turning point as well. That was just horrendous. Promised to my dad that I'd look after my siblings and that, and then my sister passed away about 5 years ago. That was a nightmare. Yeah, it's just been chaos, trauma and violence and madness. I finally surrendered. The week I found out I was going into treatment in 2019, one of my best mates was murdered that day. A girl who I used to chill out with, she was mowed down by a car, and then I got involved in something as well where I ended up copping for a few broken bones. And yeah, my key worker one day just grabbed hold of me, said, "You're going to end up dead, you." And My head used to think that there were part of my using and that I didn't want to live. I had nothing to live for, although I had everything going on, the kids and everything else, 3 beautiful children and this and that, and I was just killing myself. I didn't even realise it. I didn't feel nothing. It was horrible. Yeah, so that one day, I just had a light bulb moment one day where this woman sat me down. Said, you're going to end up dead, you, one of these days. I think I've gone in with a broken shoulder, a fractured cheekbone and broken ribs and that. Week later, I was in rehab. Struggled with that one in treatment. First time, and I'm being me, I'm thinking I'm going to get it this time. A few months in here, I'll be clean, I'll be right, I'll be out. Get a car, get a job. Getting jobs was never a problem for me. I was in and out of work a lot of times. I've worked for numerous companies. I could just never keep them. I'd be in a job a month and in another one the next month, working for friends, cash in hands, or just full on survival mode for 20 years. It was horrendous, chaotic and unmanageable. That was my life in a nutshell. Yeah, come rehab, few months in rehab, struggled with all that stuff, all that emotions and feelings, and admitting you wasn't okay. I didn't even realise that, coming from that male environment again, just putting that mask on, just pretending to be okay when all them years I obviously weren't. Quite obvious now when I've looked back and done a lot of work on myself. It's unreal now what's coming to the light now for me, where I'm like 40-year-old, where I thought, well, if only I'd have known that back then in my 20s and that, and it's so unreal. Yeah, my mind's been blown away with it all lately. I've dug deep. I only got to 11 months clean after my rehab. I struggled with it all. Got to 11 months, relapsed. I'm nearly 6 months back in today. Relocated in another town yet again. I'm 6 months back. But this time around, it's been unreal. I have really dug deep and looked at myself this time. Gone right back to the core. Just worked on myself internally. Because I've been told about that, I've had to reel that ego shit in me, because that takes me out the door, that. I get a few months clean time behind me, get a car, get a job, and I'm off. But not this time, I'm taking my time. I'm involved with probably anything and everything I can be right now. Red Rose Recovery, I'm volunteering. I'm doing community events, sports, you name it, I'm probably involved in it. Even open my side up to faith these days. I even go to church on a Sunday. I just take a bit of anything and anything that will keep me clean and keep me sane. I do it now to this day, because I know now me going back out there is not an option. There's nothing for me out there. It's just not happening. And I don't care. Once upon a time, I wouldn't even dream about telling my friends or coming on camera and talking about that stuff. But you know, today I don't care, because it keeps me clean and it keeps me well, and I'm all right with that. Yeah, and I'm slowly starting to release all that pain, all that guilt and shame and that now. It's all gone. Yeah, 20 years of madness, but it's gone. I'm not that person anymore, me.
Chris,
yeah,
can I ask?
Go on.
I know that you do quite a lot for like Red Rose football, don't you?
Yeah.
So other than that, what other things are you doing on a daily basis that keeps your head in the right place?
I've just done 6 months of that CBT therapy with someone. I don't know if I can mention it, but that was a game changer for me. That was massive for me. Counselling, the CBT. Yeah, massive.
Absolutely. I think it's one of them things, isn't it, where you either love it or loathe it. And I think different things work for different people. So it is very much worth having a go and trying. Just see how it goes. I know that I've had quite a lot of counselling in the past, and it works for me. Glenn, I think, has got a question for you as well, Sweet.
Go on, Glenn.
Yeah, it was just that I could relate to a lot of it you're going through then, and I just wanted to touch on around there's not one way to recover. That's what I must stress, is that people have different ways of recovering, in the respect that some people do NA, AA, Smart, mutual aid. There's loads of ways. Just some people do it through support from the family members or connection. And there's no wrong way to do recovery. And I just must say as well, Red Rose Recovery, when I started, we were seen as predominantly a drug and alcohol organisation. And we still do a lot of the drug and alcohol, but we're much wider than that now, in the respect that we work with people with mental health problems, domestic violence, criminal justice, drug and alcohol, because most people that have a drug and alcohol problem, like Sarah said, fit on other pathways, and they've got other issues. And I just want to thank you for coming in. And
I could relate to that. I went into treatment thinking it was just a drug problem. I come out 6 months later, I've been diagnosed with depression, social anxiety, PTSD, and all sorts. Self-medicating on drugs and medication off my doctor for years. With all that counselling and that, stop that. I don't even take antidepressants today. It was good, just the realisation for it helped me massively. I used to think I was going insane. The doctor was throwing tablets at me and that, they never fixed me. There was something inside that only I could fix, and that CBT was massive for that, along with other stuff that I've been doing. I'm in the NA fellowship, doing step work. I've got brilliant people around me now. That's key for me, having the right people. For me, the minute I pull away from this sort of stuff, I'm no good. My way does not work. My way never has worked ever. It's the minute I disconnect myself and cut myself off from all this stuff, that's when it stops working. So as long as I stay around this stuff, I'm all right. I'm all right today.
Can I just say as well, I've got massive respect for you as well, mate, because what I got from your share there was, it's really hard to reach out in it, and it's really hard to vocalize and say out loud that you're struggling, and what you found is actually when you've been honest with a counsellor, when you've been honest, in groups like this, when you're prepared to come on and say it out loud, that's where the growth comes in it. That's where definitely. We start to get better, and I've got massive respect. Like, I know how hard it was for me to do it, to get honest and, tell people what was going on and reach out for that help. But I'm really aware, of just society as a whole, how much harder it is for you men. I think sometimes you men get a really raw deal in that. I think, predominantly as a society, where, all the men are told, man it up, it's not all right for men to cry. It's not all right for, do you know what? It is. Do you know what I mean? Men are people too. Do you know what I mean? You've got feelings as well, and it's okay to have them. Do you know what I mean? And it's like all boys together, or, you never talk about your feelings. You just punch each other in the arm. And I think as a whole, we need to get out of that. It's all right for you lads to talk. It's all right for you to talk to each other. I think you've been really, really brave, mate. Nice one.
I think, yeah, and you're right, Sarah. You're right, because like I said in a bit of my share, I portrayed an image that wasn't me. On the exterior, everything was, I was this lad off an estate, and I was one of the lads, and but internally, I was a blubbering, vulnerable mess.
We're all just little kids inside, aren't we?
Yeah, and I'll sit here now and on it to everyone that how many people, when you say to them, "Are you all right? How are you?" You say the first response will be, "I'm all right." Well, actually, that's not feeling, is it? How are you actually feeling? And I sit here now sometimes. I'm watching Coronation Street and I'm a blubbering mess, but that's all right. I don't know why. But what my point being is that it's all right to show your emotion. That's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't matter about what it's about. No. And as men or women or any race or gender, whatever that be, is that talking about your feelings is that keeping them in. And like I said, back to that analogy, keeping them in isn't healthy at all for anybody.
No, it's not.
So,
I know, Glenn, on quite a personal note, you and I met through work best part of 2 years ago, but we built up quite a close friendship on that. But one thing that I have noticed is you still take the time to check in with me on a weekly basis, which I thank you for, because there's not many people in the world that can say that they've got a friend as I do with you. But the one thing that I am conscious of is that you always stop and say, no, forget work, forget the world, forget, how are you? And that's the one thing I absolutely love about you, because it doesn't matter, male, female, tall, short, whatever your inhibitions, you have feelings. And I just want to advocate what you've just said there. If anybody out there needs to talk, please get in touch. My phone number is out there on posters. Barbara's posted hers. Just, I don't care, message me on Facebook, message us on Telegram, whatever it is. Just get in touch and tell us you need to call, you need to talk, because we can't help you if we don't know. And that's what we want to do. Everybody is in recovery from something. I don't have a background in addiction of alcohol or drugs, but I'm still recovering from things in my past. And I think it's important, every single person is dealing with something.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. 100%. Speak up, people.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good point, Shelley, because we all do it, don't we? Around we minimize our own stuff and we say, oh, but such and such a body's going through that, and they're going through a worse time than me. But when you take that back to yourself, are they feeling any worse than you are? No matter how small or big your issue is, you'll still have the same feeling potentially.
Problems are all relative to you. If it's a big deal for you, if it's affecting your life, you know, if it's affecting your peace of mind, it's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is a big thing to be said, that if a problem shared is a problem halved.
Where the growth comes for me is absolutely where the growth comes. If you don't let it out, if you don't talk to people about it, you know, things are never going to change.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a saying. I'm going to move on to Shelley in a minute, I'm going to come to Barbara first. But we've got a saying in Central Lancashire, and it's funny you should say it so, because we turn around and say, whatever doesn't make you feel uncomfortable, there's no growth from it.
And it's right.
and it really hit home when someone said that to me a few years ago, because it's true. Because unless everything that's been hard or traumatic or an issue, that's where I've been able to grow from it. It's not the other way around. So remember that saying, because I believe in it. I think it's true. Right. Barbara, is there any comments that you need to come in?
I think everybody's got flashy fingers tonight. Really amazing the amount of people that are commenting. It's really good. Chris has said, amazing, Chris, love and respect. I've come to the conclusion, I think we've got 5 Chris's on tonight. An awful lot of Chris's. Gary says, top quality, Chris. Another Chris says, great housemate and a wonderful fella, deserves all the happiness in the world and respect to you. Lindsay relates to your story, and thinking back on what she put her boys through reduces her to tears. But she has learned not to look back, because that's a place that she never ever wants to go again. Debbie says, baby steps, and as long as you keep stepping, you will get there in the end. And Gary says, it's a great share, pal, but he's very sorry that you can't kick a football for toffee. But you're a sound fella. And a person named Ricky is wrote in, wow, this is heart-wrenching. He's not a drug addict or an alcoholic, but his wife was killed by a drunk driver. He forgave the man who took her from him. God turned his hate into love and compassion for addicts, and he started an aftercare program in his town, and he works with the prison ministries. How amazing is that? That has just hit me right in the stomach. That is just amazing.
If we credit, because that is inspirational.
Yeah, let's get his number and get him on the next LUF.
Well, I was trying to type into the thing. Can you please call me?
We want to hear about that.
That story is amazing. But isn't it weird that other people's stories affect us that way? And a lot of our stories are just as bad, but we don't see that. We worry about other people, and that's a good thing, I think. I think it's a good thing. So, Ricky, please contact us.
Yeah. And can I just come in as well before we move on to, thanks Barbara, to Shelley, is that obviously we've got Red Rose Recovery, which is an infrastructure which is also linked to Lancashire User Forum. And the reason that I want to touch on this is that I started at Lancashire User Forum, and anybody can get involved. And this is the platform. Obviously, pre-COVID, we used to do these in venues, and I think that a few weeks ago we did our first face-to-face LUF that we've done in 15 months, and hopefully going forward we'll do a lot more. And I remember the last one that I did there, and we organised as a team, and I think there was about 140 people there, and it was inspirational to say the least. And it's about client service use, whatever terminology people use, and bringing services together to be able to that service user and feedback. So if you want to get involved with a LUF, give one of us a call, or contact one of us, and you can get involved in that, and you can come and do your shares. You can it was due to the LUF that and Red Rose that I started going into the prisons. Prisons ones, if I'd have gone to a prison and said let me in, they'd have laughed at me. But when you're doing it under a recognised banner, you've got a bit of scope to be able to do that. And then that's up to you. Once you've got that opportunity, then it's up to you then to flourish with the wraparound support. So I'm just mindful of time, and obviously I just want to touch on what Shelley said around where we met. So we met due to a program called Leadership. I won't go into detail because I know that Shelley's going to touch on that. So Shelley, do you want to introduce yourself and tell a bit about Leadership?
Good evening, everybody. For those of you that haven't already met me, my name's Shelley, and I've come to Red Rose Recovery after quite a large number of years in the civil service. Now, I was approached and asked whether I would project lead a collaboration between Red Rose Recovery and the civil service. And that collaboration, or that team up, was designed to tackle stigma. Okay, we wanted to tackle two lots of stigma. The first being around addicts and people that are in recovery. They're not all lost souls. And the second one is around civil servants, because they weren't all born with silver spoons in their mouths. So we came up with the plan. I worked very closely with Glenn to pull together a timetable of training, which it was originally face-to-face over at the Harris Museum in Preston. So thank you to our comrades over there. I will be back in touch very soon. We had training every week, and we had one-to-one mentors join in from the civil service. Okay, each individual that was on the program got their own allocated mentor that they were there within the training so that they could sanity check and they could have that support, but also it was for the out of training times as well. So if you were having problems, let's say topping up your phone, you could phone up one of the mentors and say, look, I've got a problem here, can you help me, can you talk me through it? Or I've got an issue, can you signpost me? I've never done this before, I'm sanity checking. Or even, do you know what, I really struggled with that last session, can you help, can we go over it with me again? Or we've had an absolute, we've been inundated with the amount of different issues that people have. I think COVID has definitely forced us all into an electronic world. Now, I don't know about you, I don't get on very well with electronics. Not very well at all. And I know Glenn sat there chuckling on the inside, but I don't. You give me a TV or a mobile phone, I can't deal with it. And actually, some people get like that over more basic technology. Are you with me? Something as simple as jumping onto Zoom, which Glenn, you and I take for granted these days because we've lived by it, haven't we? But actually, for some people, that's quite daunting. So it was quite a problem to overcome when we were put into lockdown and when we were forced to have to use virtual platforms. But then it became quite apparent that the leadership program had grown so much, they wanted it to continue growing. We've got a waiting list of people that want to be on it, for crying out loud. And that is brilliant. That is absolutely awesome. So we put together the virtual sessions. We split it down from 12 weeks back to back, and we put it into 3 smaller bite-size not sessions but deliverables. So we have a foundation level, an intermediate and an advanced. The foundation focuses very much on society and how we perceive ourselves and how society perceives us in general. We look at safeguarding, looking at, are you safe? Is there something that we can put into place, such as counselling, to help you? Is there something that you can put in place to help you with your boundaries, to actually turn around and say, do you know what? No, I'm sick of giving and never getting back. We're there to support you to do that. The second level is more about you as an individual and learning about how you tick, and understanding that because you see things in a different light, you see things from a different angle from Fred, Bill, Bob, doesn't mean it's wrong. Okay. It's about understanding that there are those 3 or 4 different perspectives and how they all fit together. And then what we do for the advanced is we bring all of that together, and we use the diversity and we use the learning to understand how we can impact other people. Okay. Now, I don't want to go into too much detail as to what is on the programme, because that defeats the object and I want you to join up. Okay, so on that note, I just want to say a massive shout out to everybody that was in St Anne's today, because they asked me to go over. Myself and my trusty sidekick Michael, thank you very much for joining me, went over to St Anne's and we met, and we were made to feel so welcome. And I met up with 10-12 people that will be joining our new fast track programme. So I'll be rolling this particular one out in Preston week after next. So if anybody in the Preston area, if you want to be involved in the leadership programme on a face-to-face level, please get in touch. My phone number, and I've written it down because I'm likely to forget, is 07 892 717 928. Please get in touch. We've got Saturday ones coming up in St Anne's to try and accommodate the different groups that are over in St Anne's. So we'll be doing that. We are hoping to come out to Accrington, to Burnley and to Lancaster. So if you have got contact over there, please get in touch with me. Okay. My journey really started quite early on with the planning of what products to create. And I'll be honest, I think, Glenn, we struggled a little bit, didn't we, as to what to prioritise and what we needed in. So since I've taken the leap and come over to Red Rose, my leadership team has started to grow quite vastly. I now couldn't do my job without the thanks of Michael, Brad, Oliver, Stephanie, Colin. These are people that have come through Red Rose, they've come through the leadership, and they have built their confidence to a degree that they want to be on my team. And I will not say no to anybody, okay, because we are all still learning. We will put those safe spaces there for you to learn and to ask the most ridiculous question you could even think of. And yes, I will challenge you to think of a stupid question, okay? We want you to start the programme completely clueless. We want you to come out the other end and go, do you know what? I've learned something. Absolutely learned something. I have just seen at the corner of my eye, somebody has asked me to repeat the telephone number. So I will repeat it on the proviso that if anybody contacts you, put your name on it, please. Because I hate picking up the phone and going, who are you? It's 07 892 717 928. Okay. We've got various platforms. So for some people that want to do the face-to-face, we've got that coming up. We have got the virtual ones, and we are doing some hybrid ones as well. Chris, you're down for the face-to-face one, aren't you?
Yep.
How are you feeling about it?
Okay, can't wait to get started.
Yeah, you'll be an IT genius by the end of it.
Yeah.
No, you won't, but we'll try. We'll get you feeling confident. Okay. If you want to be involved, please, please, please let me know, because the longer you take to notify us, the further to the back of the queue you are. And again, if you want to come on board as a volunteer, please, again, let us know, because we can get some of the paperwork done early doors and get that boat moving. All right. Leadership is definitely the way forward. And if nothing else, you will meet some absolutely incredible people. The best thing I ever did was make that move from civil service. Sorry, guys, my friends in the civil service, but nah, I should have made the move a lot long ago. Okay. Unless we have any other questions coming in, Barbara, have we got any other questions on leadership?
It's not so much questions, it's just comments. It's like Oliver, he can't wait and he's looking forward to being involved. That's it, really.
Sorry, I've just seen somebody comment saying that can we put your number in the chat?
Doing it now.
Keep missing it.
There you go, people. It is there. It is in the chat. Use it, abuse it. Even if you just want to pick up the phone and ask how we are, because you know that we're going to ask how you are, because it matters.
Thank you, Shelley.
Yeah. I've done that leadership course, and I think I did the second one, and it is extraordinary, and the tools that you pick up for further in life are amazing.
And just on that as well, so for people out there that may be still in that chaos or still using, or they might be thinking, why would I want to do that and developing that in that context when I've got obviously all this going on? Well, what I will say to you is that can help with where you're at in your chaos, because obviously when you can potentially, so when I started volunteering, I had that much lack of self-worth that I didn't have the skill set to go and volunteer, so I didn't do it. But if I'd have had them skills and done it a lot sooner, I'd have got well a lot sooner, because that was the platform that I needed then to move on. So I've done it, and it's a mentoring course, and I still get mentoring to this day, and me and Shelley mentor each other because we've all got different skill sets.
Yeah.
I've got a skill set that Shelley might not have, and she's got ones that I've got. So it's all right to say, because Excel, yeah, if you'd have given me a spreadsheet 2 years ago, I'd have chucked it in bin. I'd have said, don't show me that. Now I'm an Excel wizard on it. I'm not really, but I have moved on.
Excels at it.
Yeah. So my point being is that we don't devalue your skill set, because we've all got something to offer, whether it be an Excel spreadsheet, whether it's engaging in the community, whether it's your lived experience, whatever that is. But this program will help you move forward, and it might be like interviews, CV writing, budgeting, financing. Come in, Shelley, if you want to bring up other modules.
I was just about to say that it has become apparent that there are other products that people have asked for that weren't part of the leadership. So if you are part of Red Rose, you might already be aware that we use Telegram. Get that downloaded, because that is where we send out on a daily basis the links to training, to groups. So I highly recommend that you get downloaded with Telegram. We offer, aside of the leadership, we offer maths, we offer English, we offer conflict management. One of our newest ones is anger management. We offer sharpening your mindset, personal leadership. So there is a growing platform of different training. Even if you just need something to distract you for half an hour, just to stop you making that call, or just to stop you scratching that itch, jump on. Yeah.
I think I might come on that anger management on some days because I need it on
Yes.
some occasions. So, yeah.
It's key. It's worth doing. It's worth exploring. Just come along and say hi. Come on. Join in.
Thank you, Shelley. So, last but not least, Stuart. I've known Stuart a long time, but I'll let him talk about his story. And if anyone's got any questions, can I just say that obviously to the guys that have done the shares today, it's really, really nerve-wracking doing this. And I've been doing it now for a long time, and I still get nerves doing it to this day. So let's give some love to the people that are doing this, because they might have never done it before. They might have, I don't know. But what I'm saying is press the like and share, get this message out to as many people as you can, because potentially you might be saving their life or someone's life. So, Stuart, do you want to come in, mate?
Yeah, I'm Stuart, Preston lad. I want to just take you back to my life story, my live story from when I remember when I was age of 5. Basically, I had a bit of an hectic lifestyle from age of 5. My dad was an alcoholic. He was always hitting my mum and just basically abusing my mum. I was in primary schools, being bullied in primary schools, going from one primary to another, just kept getting expelled. And then it come to a point where my behaviours was just getting a bit too much. And I was put into a boarding school in Preston. And when I went to the boarding school, it was just, my lifestyle was just getting worse and worse. And it was like people being sorry about that. People was being abused in front of me, physically and mentally. I kept running off, being brought back by the police. And then I kept going to my nan's, kept running off to my nana's, trying to explain to my nana what was going on, because I was close to my nan. Just trying to give her an insight of where I was living and what was happening. Then I started rebelling more. They kicked me out at 15, out of the boarding school, put me in social services, put me in a property on Lawson Street in Preston. That's when I first picked up my drug. That was cannabis. Started knocking about with older people, a lot of people a lot older than me. Then it went on to pills and ecstasy and trips. And then my life just rebelled. And then when I was 18, I was locked up for a serious assault, sent to prison for it. Learning more things off the young offenders at Lancashire Farms, thinking, well, when I get out, I can do that and do this. I'll meet up with you and I'll do that. I got out, vice versa, same again, that vicious circle, ended up back in prison. And my life just escalated to a point where when I was 19, I had my first daughter with my partner. My life was still hectic. I picked up heroin for the first time. And it was just a horrible lifestyle that I was leading. I was lying. I was going out selling drugs to feed me habit. And I ended up in prison. I got 6 years in prison. So that relationship cut off, and my daughter got out of my daughter's life. Then I've got out after 6 years, met another woman, got in another relationship, started selling drugs, come out used again, started on heroin and crack cocaine. I thought I could hide it from the partner that I was with at the time, because she weren't using anything. I got caught out, started selling drugs again to feed me habit. I went on to have 2 children with her. Ended up going back to jail, got 5 years for supplying, lost my relationship, my 2 kids again out of my life. And it was just like a constant, it was just a horrible lifestyle that I was leading. And I admit, I regret what I've done and left my kids. But what I've done, I've built relationships with them. Then I've ended up getting out. On the 5 years, I went to Wymot TC. I was on the recovery wing there for a year. I completed that. Got transferred from Wymot when I completed to Kirkham. Got released in 2018. Relocated to Lancaster, which was absolutely brilliant. Didn't pick no drugs up. I moved in with my sister. I weren't really doing nothing around like groups or any. I didn't carry no groups on. I just thought I could do it on my own. Then my mum passed away, so I went back to Preston. Moved back to Preston. Ended up on another area in Preston, in a shared house where there were drug users. So I picked up again. Met another woman that had just come out of a rehab, which I didn't know about. Moved back onto Callum with her. She was heavily drinking. I was taking the drugs. I had a baby with her. Ended up back in prison on recall. And I got released last April, just gone. But when I went back in this time, he kept offering me methadone. And I didn't want to take it. At that point in my life, I said to myself, I have to change my life. And this is the moment. So I rattled it out. I didn't go on to methadone. Started working with Discover in Preston Prison. Went on to the recovery wing there. Remained abstinent free. And got transferred to Lancaster Farms. Went on recovery wing there. Carried on working with the drug team. And I put across to them that I wanted to do a residential rehab on release. And they just kept saying, right, we'll put in for your parole and we'll get you a parole there. But I didn't want my parole there. I wanted to do it off my own back. So what I said is, I wanted to be released on my normal date when my license was over and go straight-minded to the rehab. I went to Little Dale in Lancaster. Found it, I struggled really bad with that, really hard. The groups was all right, the groups were good, but it's when they started mentioning the counselling, I started backing off from it, and I just said, look, this place ain't for me. So they were going to kick me out. Obviously, I had nowhere to go, nowhere to live. Didn't want to end up back on the streets. So they recommended Mulberry in Blackpool, Mulberry Project, where I'm at now myself. But yeah, I've come a hell of a long way. I've enjoyed it being in Mulberry. I share an house with another lad who's been in recovery and clean for 3 years. I do 3 groups a week at the Mulberry. Also, I'm doing also other groups, and yeah, I'm just getting involved in everything. I got invited to go to Empowerment up in Bispham, up these ways, and I'm looking on volunteering. There's 3 of us that are doing it, and they're on about us volunteering at Blackpool Police Station. So yeah, I've been clean now 15 months. I'm just loving the life of recovery. The support and the help that I've got out there is it's unbelievable. I love giving the support. I love giving back. I love the support myself. When I need to speak to people, I pick up the phone or speak to my housemate. I've got I've circled myself around a lot of positive peers that are in recovery. And I'm just attending all groups. I've been to Living St Anne's, do a few in Blackpool, Brisbane. I just try and get myself out there to keep myself busy. But I've never felt so good in my life that, because I never thought I'd be able to do it. But to this day, I love myself, and I feel absolutely brilliant in myself, because the work that I'm putting in, and the more you put in, the more you achieve. And yeah, I'm loving life. I try and just get involved in anything and everything. Zoom, yourselves, Red Rose, just anything and everything. But yeah, I'm loving life. And now I've got my kids back in my life. My daughter that I left when she was 2. I've just remained in contact again with her over the phone. She's had a little baby. Yeah, she's seen a difference in me, and it's nice. And yeah, look, it's just unbelievable, the life that I've got now, which I never thought I'd be able to have. But it's absolutely amazing. Recovery is the best thing in my life and that I've ever done. And I'm going to keep it this way because I love it. And the people that I've met it's fantastic. So yeah, thanks. I'll leave it there.
Cheers, Stu. Cheers, Stu. It just had a beaming smile on my face then. You might have seen it when you said, I love myself, because I love that. I love that, the fact that, because it took me back around when, I say this, and I'm not reverting it back to me, because I just want to make a point, is that I've judged myself enough, and we judge ourselves enough in this, and the fact that you can come on this platform and sit there, Stuart, and say today that I love myself and I love my life, and the fact that you've got your kids back in your life, you're doing absolutely amazing, and you've got that much life experience that you want to help others as well and give that back. I just take my hat off to you, mate, and I couldn't stop smiling when you said it. The fact that you can sit on here now and say, I love myself. And that's it there, isn't it?
I'd really wanted to come in there, Glenn, and say that's just given me the biggest smile.
Yeah,
I share there. It really, really did. You know, it just shows, like we were all saying before, recovery is not a straight line, is it? Do you know what I mean? We don't go all of a sudden wake up one day and go, right, that's it, I'm going to be clean from now on. Do you know what I mean? There are ups and downs. Do you know, there's so many different ways that, you know, you can possibly get recovery. It's about trying it all, isn't it? If the first thing you try doesn't work, pick yourself back up and go again. And that's what you've done, mate, isn't it? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's not been, it's just been straightforward, you know, but you've kept at it and you've kept working at it. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah, thanks.
I really do, mate.
I have to apologise. My son's just come in and he's like trying to talk to me while I'm doing this. So I apologise. Working from home, eh? Well, it's not work, but anyway. So yeah, but yeah, Stuart, is there any comments for Stuart, Barbara?
Well, there sure is. Michael has said you have started a good road to recovery, and thank you, Stuart, for this share. If ever you need him, just give him a call. Mitch says, keep up all the hard work, Stuart. He's very proud of you. And he says, so proud of you, Stu. Eventually, you are doing this for yourself. We love you to bits, little brother. And well done, Stu. My hat's off to you. Keep it going. And another Stuart has just said, thumbs up, lad. Keep going.
Can I ask you, Stuart? Because obviously, when you were mentioning that, what I took from that and what I heard you say is around that a lot of your using and your offending was influenced by a lot of the people that you was with at the time, in respect of, and we say is when you put yourself around positive peers that are doing things that are doing really well, it's easy to achieve and maintain that, innit? But if you sat there when you're in an house and people are using and you're in environments that it's going to be really difficult, and I think it'd be difficult for anybody. I don't think anybody that's gone through that can honestly sit here and say
that they wouldn't struggle in that environment. And I think that they probably would if it was.
Do you know what, Glenn? I love that analogy. You know that they say in a lot of recovery circles is if you sit in the hairdresser's chair for long enough, you will get your hair cut.
Yeah,
and that is what it is, isn't it? If you sit in those environments for long enough, it will happen. Surround yourself with those positive people. Surround yourself with the winners.
Yeah,
I think if you ask most people when they've come through offending or mental health or drug and alcohol, I think that if you ask them, I didn't want that lifestyle.
No.
I didn't want to get into it.
No.
But I found myself in it, and it's like, and it goes back to the bit around people and that judgment and that, oh well, they've done this or they've done that. Nobody wanted that lifestyle. They didn't want to end up in the way that they did.
No. As a kid, I didn't dream I was going to be an alcoholic or an addict. It's not what I aspired to be, growing up.
Yeah. But it's like you said, and I can't remember which one did talked about it in their share around. It's done. You can't get them years back, and you can't beat yourself up and continue to do that for the rest of the life. And accepting that it's done, and you can move forward from it. Don't beat yourself up about it, because I did that, and that was one thing that influenced me to stay in it.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can sit on here now and go, well, I've done this and I've done that. Okay, I've done it, but that doesn't define you as a person or where you're going in life, Stuart. So take me on. I'll talk to you, mate.
Yeah.
And I want you on the leadership programme.
There you go.
No pressure.
That's what some of the comments are putting over. It's thanks for your share. I am in early recovery after lots of lapses, and I think that's where people can go through a few lapses and start just to give up. And I think listening to the stories that we've had tonight has been inspirational for them people that have had lapses to come back and have another go. And Michael says that he's been clean for 5 years and he's your mate Stuart Mulberry. So, you know what? It's absolutely brilliant. It's inspiring.
Yeah.
It really is. Thank
It
you.
is. So it's that time again, guys. We've come to a close, but before we do close it off, what I will say is that there's jobs on our website, different ones for different roles, and I know that some of them roles are around lived experience and having that lived experience to be able to do it. In fact, one of the roles stipulates that you've got to have that to actually get the job. So don't devalue yourself, because you've all got something to offer, and have a look on the website to see if anything catches your fancy. I started off volunteering. I know that many of us in Red Rose Recovery did. So there's an opportunities there for you. So if anybody got anything to say before we close it off?
I just want to say thank you and reiterate that the stories that I've heard tonight from all four of you have been inspirational. That's the only word for it, because I love my little diamond mine that is here. And yeah, thank you so much, because it's still a big eye opener for me. I'm still learning on a daily basis. So keep up the great work, guys.
And we never stop learning, do we? That's the thing. We never stop learning. Doesn't matter where we're at. And if also, while you're on the website, like I said, go onto the what's on. There's stuff about the LUF, about the groups that you can attend, and a bit about what Stuart said then around he does bits of this and bits of that. It's whatever takes your fancy. Try them. You might not like it. You might like it. You might go on the day after and think it's absolutely amazing. It might just spark that one initial thought process, and it could potentially change your life. So I would advise to go on there, and it's www.redroserecovery.org.uk. I got that right.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, right.
Can I just say before we go, Glenn, I say to every single person that I phone up for a referral or a membership, or who wants to go on the Hope and Beyond, it's there, it's free. If you don't try it, you don't know if it's going to work for you. Give it a go.
Yes,
That's
Barbara.
it. So there, on that note, we'll leave it there, guys. And also we've got this show on again next week. We've got it on every week. So come and join us next week. I'll be on here again. We'll have some different stories. We'll have some different services on there. So come and join me and the team again next week. I'll see you later, guys. Thank you. Thank you again.
Keep well. Keep safe.
Bye. Bye.
Thanks for having us. Cheers, guys.
Bye.